Hey YouTube. So another video on Bitcoin. So how is this one different than the other million videos you can find on YouTube? Well, two ways. First, I'm going to explain how to solo mine Bitcoin on your own installed blockchain on your computer, or if you'd like to call it your own private pool. Second, I'm going to show you how to have your wallet on your own computer instead of some third-party wallet located who knows where. In both cases, you don't need to rely on any third party to host anything. You'll have everything you need without depending on anyone. What does solo mining mean? Just to review a little history of Bitcoin, when Bitcoin was first invented, solo mining, Bitcoin is how Bitcoins were created. There was no such thing as GPUs or ASIC equipment for mining. You just use your computer's spare CPU and you let it run in the background. And back then it was easy. The earliest spending of Bitcoins that I recall were stories about people mining some Bitcoins and then buying pizza with them. And I guess this is a simplistic explanation, but the Bitcoin algorithm was much easier back then because fewer people were mining them. Bitcoin has an intelligence built in that says a Bitcoin block can only be mined about every 10 minutes. And in order to hit that mark, the Bitcoin algorithm adjusts the difficulty level of mining a Bitcoin up or down as needed. So the more people mining, the more difficult the algorithm makes it. And this gave rise to the reality of mining pools. And in a mining pool, you've got basically groups of individual miners. They get together, they work collectively on mining, and then they split the reward. I have heard that Bitcoin the difficulty raises itself about 0.5% a day, so that's something that I can keep in mind. And so why not mine in a pool like everyone else does instead of solo mine like what I'm proposing? Well, with anything in life, of course, there's pros and cons, and if you mine in a pool, unless you have a lot of equipment, your payout is going to likely only be the equivalent of pennies a day, and you'll probably spend more than that in electricity just to mine. Further, you can't cash out your wallet until you hit a certain threshold. And the pool will also collect a fee off your Bitcoin earnings to offset their costs of running the pool. And every time a Bitcoin or a portion of a Bitcoin is transferred from one wallet to another wallet, so from the pool to your wallet, there's a small fee for that as well. And there are a few large pools out there that you can join if you really wanted to. Your average large pool, probably like a slush pool or something like that, probably represents about 15% of all Bitcoins mined. So this video, like I said in the beginning, this isn't about pool mining. And if you're curious, what does it take to mine a Bitcoin solo? I'll start by saying to notice the title of this video. It's Bitcoin Solo Mining for Lottery and Fun. The odds of you by yourself actually solving a block are probably pretty rare. But you do have the same odds of solving a block that anyone else has. You could hit it on your first day. Basically, that's why people mine in a pool, to increase their odds, but they split the reward. And if you by yourself were to actually solve a block, you keep the entire reward for yourself and also get miner's fees for everyone's transactions that get stuffed into your block, which is a topic for another video. So if you're the type who likes to buy a lotto ticket or go to Las Vegas, this might be a good fit for you. It could happen, and if it does happen, currently you'd be looking at earning 6.25 Bitcoins for the solve. As of the date of this video in May of 2021, each Bitcoin is valued at about $57,000. And then of course you take into account the potential for Bitcoin to continue appreciating in value over time. For example, this is a crazy story, but in 2013, I actually sold some guy on Craigslist 5 of my Bitcoins for $550 total, and I thought it was hilarious. I laughed all the way to the bank. Now, obviously, would I like to have those 5 Bitcoins back? Sure, I'm not really laughing about it now, but that was, I guess, 10 years ago now, almost. You want to know what the Vegas odds are of actually hitting a Bitcoin during solo mining? Or I should say a block during solo mining? you take the total amount of hash power available on the internet right now for Bitcoin and you divide it by your hash power. So I was just looking at blockchain.com, and the estimate there is that right now there is 170 million terahashes per second right now being dedicated to Bitcoin. So if you are running 5 of these new packs, which is what I'm using, overclocked to about 100 gigahashes per second, that would equate to 0.5 terahashes, the 5 of them. So you take that 170 million and you divide it by 0.5, that gives you 340 million blocks before you solve one. And there's only 144 blocks solved during any day, any given day. That's one every 10 minutes. Take that 340 million, divide it by 144, and basically what that's saying is it's going to take you 2.3 million days or 6,469 years to solve a block. But technically, like I stated before, you could get lucky and you could hit one on your first day, or you may never hit one, or you could hit 10 in a row. Basically, your odds are the same as every other miner to actually hit a coin, or to solve a block, I should say. So here's a look at my setup. I bought a Raspberry Pi 4 with 8 gigs of memory and a USB-C power supply and cord for $83. Then I bought this case, this Argon 1 M.2 case, and the neat thing about this case is it has a built-in SATA SSD support. It costs $45. Then I bought a Samsung 860 EVO 1 terabyte solid state drive, or SSD, that cost $124. And then this iBoot 10-port USB hub, capable of a 120 watt output total. That's 12 volts at 10 amps. That was $55. And the reason for that is your regular computer USB ports just do not have the amount of power needed to run these new packs. And then this new pack USB stick miner, which is $140. And stock is mining is 23 gigahashes per second, but you can overclock them. There are people taking them up to 90 plus gigahashes overclocked. And by the way, these are not the 2 packs or the compacts. These are the new packs. They have the BM1387 chips. There's 2 chips on it. I don't know how far I want to take these. Right now I'm running them at about 50 gigahashes per second, but people are running them much higher. But anything over the default 23 gigahashes, you're going to want to run some kind of external fan to keep them cool. So a special note on SSD drives. In my opinion, everyone really should be buying these for any computer or a laptop they ever buy again, regardless of what you're using them for. They're just so much more reliable and probably at least 10 times faster than your regular old hard drives. They do make your computer operate at its best speed, in my opinion, as the hard drive, I feel, is typically the bottleneck on your older, slower computers. And to quick illustrate, on my desktop computer, which I do have the SSD hard drives on, I downloaded the entire blockchain in 2 days. I got a decent internet connection, but to compare, on an older computer with just your garden variety SATA 7200 RPM drive on the same network as my computer, it took almost 3 weeks to download that blockchain. It started getting slower and slower as the hard drive started to get more and more full, because it takes longer and longer for the writes between each drive, between each rotation of the cylinders. Also, downloading the entire 350 gigabyte blockchain goes much faster, as the bottleneck is typically not the internet. It's not typically your internet connection with today's modern bandwidth. It's just the writes to the Bitcoin blockchain database on the computer. We'll cover that a little bit more in the next videos. So do you need a 1 terabyte drive like I purchased? Right now, no. I would say though you need a minimum of 500 gigs, but for a few extra dollars I think it's worth it just to get the 1 terabyte drive. Keep in mind the blockchain does continue to grow every day. Like I said, right now it's 350 gigabytes. And then of course if you decide you want to can this project, you can always use the drive in the Raspberry Pi for something else. So to review some quick history, Bitcoin mining originally was designed to use your computer CPU. Then came video card GPU, which was a major speed improvement. And then today's technology is called ASICs, or application specific integrated circuits. And that's what the technology is today. If you wanted to buy a top of the line Bitcoin miner, you'd be looking for something like an Antminer S19 Pro. Today it's May of 2021. That's the latest and greatest today. That mines about 110 terahashes, not gigahashes, but 110 terahashes per second. It's very expensive, and your electrical consumption is rated. It says, I looked it up, 3,250 watts, and it requires 220 volts. Basically, that's the equivalent of running 54 old-style 60-watt light bulbs at the same time. And that sucker's noisy too, because it's got a lot of fans on it to keep it cool. So a quick price check on something like that puts it just under $20,000 for one of those units. To compare it to the USB sticks that I'm running, one of these is the equivalent of 1,100 of my USB sticks. So a word on electricity, and I'm going to show you my setup in the next video. I have I'm keeping track of my power consumption, and you'll see that on my project board. But in general, I would say for every $1 in Bitcoin that you earn in some kind of mining group with the best mining equipment, you're probably spending about $2 in electricity. So, it's a game of, I think, appreciation as well. The value of these Bitcoins will probably just keep going up and up. So just to summarize what I'm proposing here, I'm proposing mining for fun and lottery by yourself, solo mining, with the off chance that maybe you'll hit a Bitcoin. And in the process, you'll learn about how to host your own wallet and how to mine against your own copy of the blockchain, basically your own mining pool, not depending on anybody for anything. So if this sounds good to you, stick around for the next video. Thanks.